Welcome to the Harvest Series podcast, recorded here in Kerplunk Air on the southwestern Aegean coast of Turkey during Harvest, an event gathering hundreds of curious minds. I could interview the most passionate and inspiring speakers, practitioners, and musicians. I hope you will enjoy this episode. Today, we are going to talk about courage in this episode recorded and filmed in the beautiful Kerplunk Air for the podcast Harvest series. Our guest is a former Jain monk, longtime peace activist, and one of the great voices of ecological and spiritual thought in our time. As a founder of Schumacher College and a longtime advocate of simple living and deep connection with nature, he invites us to rethink progress. He is also the one who walked for peace during 2.5 years. Satish Kumar, welcome to Harvest.
My pleasure.
We are so proud and happy to have you here in Kerplunk Air. Of course, the theme of Harvest is courage. And my first question would be, what does courage mean for you?
Courage means that you let go of fear and you are prepared to take risk in your life. You are prepared to experiment and go into the unknown, because we always want to be safe and secured and don't want to take any risk. And that's where the fear is, and that's where the lack of courage is. So the courage is to be bold, to be fearless, and be prepared to take risk, and be prepared to fail. Because we always want to succeed, but success comes from failure. Failure is the springboard for success. So courage is also to go to your heart. The word courage comes from heart. Kur is heart. And so at the moment, most of us are using our head more than our heart. So courage is to use your heart. That's courage.
That's what you use, courage, because you've been a Jain monk and you decided to escape. Why? And was it one of the first moments where you needed courage in your life?
That's right. Because when you become a Jain monk, you become a monk for life. You are not allowed to leave the monastic order. When I was 18 years old, I had a dream. And in my dream, Mahatma Gandhi came. And he said to me that how many people can become monks? Only few. That means that spirituality becomes exclusive for the monks. I want you to practice spirituality in the world. So come out of the monastery. That was a very powerful dream. And that dream made me kind of worry and think, what am I doing here? I'm escaping from the world. Mahatma Gandhi is saying the world is beautiful and you can make it even more beautiful. So one night after midnight, when all the other monks were asleep, all the people were asleep, I escaped from the monastery and ran away from the monastery. And that needed courage, because I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what I will do. I had no idea, but I escaped in the unknown. And that was necessary for courage.
Where did you go? Did you have a plan?
I didn't have any plan. So first of all, I went home. And I thought that my mother will help me. But my mother is a very staunch religious woman.
So she was not happy to
said
see you.
That you can't come home and leave monastic order. That's a great sin. You are breaking the vow you took for life. You cannot come home. I said, all right, mother, thank you. But what can I do? I don't know what to do. Give me a glass of water. I'm a bit thirsty, because in India you get thirsty very quickly. She said, no, I can't give you water. I don't want to see you. Just go away.
Wow.
So what to do? So one way or the other, I thought that I was inspired by Mahatma Gandhi. So I should find a center, an ashram, a place where Gandhians work. And so one way or the other, I found one place of Gandhian values, and I went there to work with the Gandhian movement.
Ah, amazing. And that's where that's where you wanted you learned about the world and you wanted peace.
Yes, yes. In that ashram, in the community, I learned to do gardening. I learned to cook because as a monk, you don't do anything. You don't do anything. You walk, beg for your food, and preach and teach and study and meditate and pray. So I had to start like from the beginning.
Okay.
And so I learned many, many practical things. And that was wonderful. So I think that was my courage. I took risk. Yes, I went into the unknown. And I found amazing life. And I did find that world is beautiful, people are wonderful, and I can work with people and I can make a new life.
What is your point? So when it turned very good in your way, and we're going to talk of the rest of your life, the thing is, sometimes you have courage and it doesn't have a good result. What to think about that?
Courage is not to look for results. Courage is to act. Action after action. If one action does not succeed, have a courage to take another action. Next step, next step. Step by step, you can reach the peak of the mountain.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not to be disgusted by being courageous, and the first step, of course, doesn't work, and you're like, I shouldn't have been courageous. I regret.
No. You have to, don't give up.
Don't give up.
Stay
Okay,
on
that's
course.
that's
Stay on
another
course.
clue.
Fear
Okay.
less, trust. And life is not anything about achievement. Life is about living. Life is about process. Life is action. Action after action after action. That's how you build life. In the end, we are all dead. There's no final achievement. The only achievement we have in the end of life is death. And so I don't worry about achievement. I worry about how best I can act. What is my best action? How can I help the planet? How can I help people? How I can be more creative? How can I be more imaginative? How can I write a good book? How can I write a good speech or something? So I'm more focused on action rather than on results.
Yeah. Okay. So if your book in the end is not that good, if you're a bit more sad in your private life than you were before being courageous, if the result is okay, try again.
You know, we are all gifted with imagination. And that's a great wealth that we have. Everybody has. No human being is deprived from imagination. So imagine what can you do better. Imagine how you can write a better book. Imagine how you can do a better garden, or how can you do a better house, or how can you do something better. Your imagination will lead you to success.
How did it lead you so to learn to join this Gandhi?
Yeah.
How is it called? Gandhi place
Gandhian community. Yeah.
To walk 2.5 years
Yes.
through cities.
One day, I went with a friend to a coffee house in a city of Bangalore. And as I was waiting for my coffee, I picked up a newspaper and I read a piece of news that a very famous philosopher, Nobel Prize winner, Bertrand Russell, has been put in jail because he was protesting against the nuclear bombs. When I read this news, I said to my friend, look, read this news. Here is a man of 90 years old going to jail for peace in the world. What are we doing, young men? I'm 26, you are 27. We are sitting here comfortably in a sofa drinking coffee. That's not good enough. So that was a kind of courageous thought that came to my mind. And I said to my friend that let's do something for peace in the world. Let's join the movement, international movement for peace, which is being led by this old, 90 years old man, Bertrand in England.
Wow,
So
beautiful.
that was the moment. And so what can we do? We thought and we talked, and after a lot of discussion, we came up with the idea that peace is not in the Kremlin, peace is not in the White House, peace is not in Palais Élysée, peace is in people's heart. Like the olive oil is in the olive, peace and happiness is in the heart of every human being. So let's go to people. Now, how do you go to people? If you are in a car or in a train or in a plane, you don't really reach people. So I wanted to go to people. So I suggested, and my friend agreed, that we should walk from Delhi, from the grave of Mahatma Gandhi, to Moscow, Paris, London, and Washington. These 4 nuclear capitals of the world. And along the way, talk to people about peace. If people are for peace, then Kremlin and White House has to accept peace.
You brought with you a little something that you have next to you. You brought tea bags.
Actually, I did not bring tea bag. I was given tea bags.
Yeah.
Not tea bags, but packets of
Packets of tea.
Now, in Georgia, near the Black Sea, I was walking and I was passing by a tea factory. The 2 women were standing in front of the tea factory, and I gave them my leaflet describing that we are walking for peace from India without any money. Because we thought that wars begin in fear. Peace begins in trust. So we have to trust people and trust ourselves. And if you have money, then you don't need to trust anybody. You stay in a restaurant or a hotel or eat in a restaurant. You buy everything, your clothes, your shoes. You don't need anybody. So you don't need to trust. So if you have no money, you have to trust. So when these people, these women, 2 women in front of a tea factory read this leaflet, they said, "You come from India without money, how do you eat?" I said, "People give us food." After a minute of thought, they said, "Are you hungry? This is lunchtime, and we have a very nice canteen in our tea factory. Come and have some food with us." I said, "All right, any time is tea time." So we went in. And as we were drinking tea, one of the women had a brainwave. She went out of the room and came back with 4 packets of tea. And I said, "You are giving us tea." She said, "No, I'm not giving you. These tea packets are not for you." I was surprised. I said, "For whom are they?" She said, "I want you to be my messenger of peace and give 1 packet of tea. It's a peace tea in the Kremlin to our premier, 2nd packet of tea in the Palais Élysée, 3rd packet of tea in 10 Downing Street, and 4th packet of tea in the White House. And please give them a message from me. And my message to them is that if you ever get a bad thought of pressing the nuclear button, please stop for a moment and have a fresh cup of tea."
And it worked so far.
And it worked. And so I was very pleased. So I carried the packets of peace tea and delivered in 4 nuclear capitals of the world.
You met a lot of people. No, first, what was your lessons from, because 2 years and a half, you met so many people. We can have the trust lesson, but what were the other lessons from these 2 years and a half walking from cities to cities?
2 years and a half, I learned in every country that before people are Muslims, Hindus, Christians, communists, capitalists, they are human beings. And human heart is same everywhere. Whatever label you put, whether you call them Russians or Americans or Chinese or Europeans or Indians, they are humans. So what I learned, that humanity is in common. So when I went to Muslim countries, I said, you are Muslims? I love you. Then I went to Christian countries. I said, you are Christians? I love you. Then I went to communist countries like Soviet Union. I said, you are communists? I love you. Then I went to capitalist countries like Europe and America. I said, you are capitalists? I love you. Whoever you are, I love you. That's where the peace begins. Love does not discriminate against anyone. Love is not judgmental. Love is not conditional. You love everyone. You accept everyone as they are. You don't say, I love you if you are good. I love you if you are communist. If I love you are capitalist. I love you if you are Hindu. If you are Muslims, I don't love you. If you are some other religion, I don't love you. That's not love. So peace and love begins by accepting other people as they are, with their diversity, with their differences, with their own opinions, with their own religion, with their own nationality. It doesn't matter. I love everybody. So that common humanity was everywhere.
You managed to love everybody, but unfortunately, it's not the case of the others and the states. We have a lot of wars now and a lot of conflicts in the world. How do you look at that? And everybody wants the territory of the other, or everybody is scared of scarcity. How do you look at the world today?
The problems of the world, like wars, conflicts, in Ukraine war, Gaza war, any other war, they come because we don't love. We don't accept other people as they are. And we want them to behave the way we want them to behave. And that is why the wars begin. So only solution to war and conflicts and poverty or discrimination or segregation or racism or any kind of problem is because there's no love. So whatever is your problem, love is the solution. Whatever is your question, love is the answer.
Yeah, but if you say that to Donald Trump or Vladimir Putin or all the leaders,
Yeah.
do you think...
I say to them that if you want happiness, if you want your country to be safe, don't have enemies. If you have enemy will hurt you. If you have friends, they will help you. So I say to Ukrainians, make Russians your friends and neighbors and not your enemy. I say to Russians, make Ukrainians your friends and not your enemies, because enemies will hurt you. And so you have war, hundreds of thousands of people are killed, hospitals are destroyed, schools are destroyed, environment is polluted, the soil is destroyed. What are you gaining? And love, you will have beautiful schools, beautiful hospitals, beautiful farms, beautiful restaurants, beautiful life. So peace is easier. Peace is more economical. Peace is better. Love is better than hatred and war and anger and conflict. But we are, in the world today, sort of mad, stupid, that we think that war can find a solution. We can find a solution through war. In the end, all conflicts have to be resolved by negotiation, by diplomacy, by sitting together. This is why this woman in Georgia gave me a packet of peace tea. And she said that if you have any problem, have a tea together. Tea is more powerful than tanks. That was her message.
You met so many people, so many leaders. Who's the bravest of them all who you met? The most courageous and the most inspiring?
The bravest of them all for me and the most courageous of them all for me was Martin Luther King. I met Martin Luther King, and that is a most memorable meeting that I have in my whole life.
Oh, tell me why, yeah.
Because he said to me that I am against racism, but I'm not against white people. I love white people. I'm against segregation, but I'm not against white people. So loving white people and yet protesting against racism. And he was so courageous and so brave that he went to jail 29 times in his life as an activist, but he did not hurt any white people. He took suffering upon himself rather than inflicting suffering upon his opponent. That is the most brave and most courageous thing you can do. It's very easy to inflict suffering and pain on your enemy, on your opponent. But Martin Luther King said that I have no enemies. White people are my friends, and I'll not inflict any suffering on white people. I will go to jail. I will not go in the bus which is segregated. I will walk. So that kind of action is so rare. So I would say the bravest person I have met in my life, particularly in those 2.5 years, was Martin Luther King.
And of all the leaders today alive, who are the countries or who is inspiring you, or which activities or what is inspiring you today in the modern world?
I would say that one of the smallest country in the world, but one of the most bravest country in the world for me is Bhutan.
Of course. Okay.
Because Bhutan is following gross national happiness rather than gross national product. The king of Bhutan was asked this question, what is your gross national product? And he said, I don't care about gross national product. I care about gross national happiness. I want to see my people happy, not rich or more powerful or more bigger military or something like that. So I went to Bhutan and I found Bhutanese people very happy, very spiritual, and very family-oriented, very friendly, very hospitable. And the country is beautiful. The mountains are beautiful. And so I would say that if any one country, which I can give you as an example, which is inspiring to me, and an ideal, which is practicing love and happiness and kindness and generosity, that's Bhutan.
Wow, wonderful. If you had to help people to understand how to be more courageous in their relationship, private relationship, with their friends at work or in their couple, how would you be more courageous in a relationship?
More courageous is to accept the other people as they are and not criticize other people. If you criticize other people, that means you are thinking that you are right and other person is wrong. Even your wife. I have been married for 54 years and I don't criticize my wife. I say, who am I to criticize my wife? Who am I to criticize my friends? Who am I to criticize anybody? So criticizing other people, looking the faults of other people is something to be avoided. We should look for good things in other people, not bad things. We have bad things in ourselves, so we should look our own bad things and look good things in other people. So that's the first thing, don't criticize. Then second thing is, don't complain. Because if you complain about other people, that means you are also judging. You think that other person is doing something wrong. Let them mind their own business, and you should mind your own business. Who are you to judge and criticize, complain about other person? So I try not to complain. And the third thing I say is that not to compare two people. Every human being is unique. Every human being is special. 800 billion people on this earth are special and unique. How to compare that my wife is not as good as somebody else's wife, or my friend is not as good as somebody else's friend, or my parents are not as good as somebody else's parents? This comparing is a judgmental. So do not criticize, do not complain, and do not compare. These are the three things which I think are key. 3 C's you avoid in order to have a good, happy, joyful, inspiring relationship. That's where happiness is.
Wow, beautiful. And you've been married for
4 years.
4 years.
Yes.
So
yes.
I think we can
And I'm very
to...
happy. Because I accept my wife as she is. And she's wonderful. And she's a meditator. And she goes to Thich Nhat Hanh's plum village in France. And she learns meditation. And she's a Qigong practitioner. And she's a great gardener. She's a great cook. I celebrate our life together.
So if a friend is in jumping, if someone, you're waiting, you're queuing to get, to get your plane.
Yeah.
And someone is being very rude to you, is going in front of you in the queue.
Yes.
What do you do?
I said, please go ahead from me.
Oh, come on.
Yes,
Really?
Yes. What's the hurry? Plane is not going to leave without you because you've got the ticket, you've got the boarding pass, and all the passengers will be put in the train. And once you are in the plane, you are sitting in the plane waiting until plane will fly. I can wait before. So I said, please go ahead from me. No problem.
Beautiful. What to conclude this first episode with you about courage, because we are recording another episode about how to have a simple life, but in the end they look a bit related, the two of them.
Yeah.
What is, amongst all the things, courageous things you've done, what is the bravest thing of all you think you did?
I mean, bravest thing, walking around the world for 2.5 years through 15 countries without any money and living on the hospitality and kindness of the strangers and walking 13,000 kilometers. That was a kind of, practically, you can say, the bravest action that I have done in my life. But even greater bravery is not to be angry, not to be anxious, not to criticize other people, love everyone. That is a very courageous thing, I feel, that I am trying to practice. I'm not perfect. I'm a human, and sometimes I get upset, sometimes I get angry. But the direction of my travel is from anger to joy, from despair to hope, from fear to trust. So direction of my travel is always towards a more positive, more joyful, more courageous, more happy life. But of course, we are all humans. And as humans, we are not perfect. So if we get a bit angry, that's human. If we get a bit upset, that's human. If we make some little bit of mistake, that's human. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
We are human. But the direction of your travel should always be move from fear to joy, and fear to trust, and a despair to hope. If you travel in the right direction, even if a little bit of anger and fear and anxiety will not bother you too much.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
What was, before wrap up, the toughest moment during these 2.5 years? What was, is there a moment where you wanted to give up, or is there a moment that was really tough for you?
Yes. I mean, walking over the 12,000 feet high Hindu Kush mountains in Afghanistan was very tough. And my feet were hurting. I had blisters, and I was vegetarian. And in those mountains, people don't have vegetables, and don't have rice, and don't have lentils, and they have meat or bread or tea. That's it. So I was living on bread and tea for weeks and weeks, and nothing else to eat. And so that was very tough. And climbing 12,000 feet high, and then climbing down. That was very tough. Then, of course, in Iran, I had to walk through desert. And the deserts were very, very long. I had to walk sometimes 48 hours. I had to sleep under the stars. And I said, okay, this is my 1,000,000-star hotel. I will sleep under the stars. Who cares for 5-star hotel? I will sleep here. So I had to do that with positive thinking. But it was tough. No food for 48 hours and walking, sleeping under the stars. So that was tough. So physically, those were the tough moments. But otherwise, people were very kind and happy. Wherever I was, mostly 99% of the time, people were kind. I lived on the kindness of strangers.
Thank you so much, Satish Kumar, and we'll remember your courage in the big acts you did, and also in your 3 C's. Don't criticize, don't complain, and don't compare.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thanks for watching this episode of the Harvest series podcast recorded in Kerplunk Air. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to have some more.